Hello, good afternoon and welcome to P2P Live, our regular jobs and market employment update going live across Australia. I'm coming to you from Gadigal country today, so I'm in Sydney and wanted to acknowledge that we are on Gadigal land. Thank you again for joining us and letting me host while our Group MD, Mark Smith, is having a bit of a holiday. So regular plan of attack for today. We've got our regular stat of the week that will certainly take you through. There's some interesting data from the ATO, actually, not that those two words typically would go together, interesting and ATO, but there's some interesting information just around some changes in different industries and different salaries. So we'll go through the stat of the week. As always, we've got lots of jobs that the team are looking to fill. So there's a couple of hot jobs around Australia. And then also, if you are considering a move to do a working holiday, potentially in New Zealand or the UK, or if you know someone in those locations, we've got some work from our colleagues in New Zealand and in the UK that we can share with you as well. We're going to have a chat to Mark Green, who's the branch manager of our Western Sydney office here in Sydney, and he and the team in Western Sydney are running a candidate webinar or a talent webinar next week. So he's going to tell us a little bit about that. And then, as always, we've got our regular Twitter poll. So we had a question that we put out last week. We'll bring you those results and then pose a new question to the Twitter sphere. So thank you again for joining. Very much appreciate it. And we'll get straight into it with our stat of the week. So we've got some data today to share with you that's actually come from the ATO. So there's particular reporting that goes to the ATO just purely through payroll processing. So it's called one-touch payroll, and that data is collated by the ATO as regularly as fortnightly, and then they track that over time. So the first slide that we've got on the screen here is the percentage change in total wages by industry. Forgive me for looking just past the camera because I've got the screen behind me there. So what this is showing is the change in total wages. So that's the total amount of wages being paid in these different industries, breaking it down by a fortnightly change, a monthly change, and then a yearly change. So the fortnightly and even the monthly can be a little bit deceiving because there can be seasonal peaks, there can be particular things that might impact that shorter time frame, but looking at the yearly change is actually quite interesting. So you can see, looking at almost all of the industries, really without exception, that there has been a shift in wages year on year. So the leading industries in terms of the change in total wages is mining, so 16.5% yearly increase in total wages in that sector. But if you look at the fortnightly and the monthly change, it's -3. So, as I said, those kind of short-term timeframes are not necessarily as reflective of what's actually happening. The other areas where we've seen big increases is in that transport, postal and warehousing space, so 10.3% increase there. Wholesale trade, 8.6. Construction, 8.8 for wholesale trade, construction at 8.6. So overall, there's definitely been a little bit of movement in wages, and that's certainly what we've seen after very stagnant wages for a long time. And I guess if you're considering what might be the sectors where there could be some growth for you, that information might be helpful. If we jump to the next slide, it is more reflective of the total jobs. So data is reported to the ATO literally about the number of workers and the number of people who are employed and the number of jobs. And this shows the month to May, to the 13th of May 2023. That's the dark blue line that you can see. And it has been compared to the month to the 14th of May of 2022. So if we focus on that dark line, you can see the really big shifts have been in education and training. So nearly a 4% increase to the month of the 13th of May of this year. Equally, arts and recreation, or not equally, but similarly, arts and recreation, which has had an increase of 2%. Healthcare and social assistance, transport, postal and warehousing, have all seen increases. There's quite a big difference if you look at the very top of the graph there in terms of the growth in sectors comparing 2022 to 2023. So information media and telecommunications, so IT basically, in 2022 there was nearly a 2% increase in the month to May 2022, whereas that's actually gone almost the same amount in reverse in 2023. So that would reflect a bit of a softening in some of that tech market, which is certainly what we have seen. But education and training, arts, recreation services, healthcare, logistics, even public administration, accommodation and food services, all seeing some growth. Some of them fairly similar to last year. Some have come back a bit on the year before, and then some have gone the other way. So that's just some interesting data for you from the ATO. I think it can be helpful if you're just giving some thought to what sectors might be right for you or for people who you know. But that brings us to the end of our stat of the week for this week. Okay, so as I said, we've got some hot jobs that need to be filled, and they're from various places around Australia. So the first one that you can see on screen, there's a project coordinator. The lead consultant on that particular role is Georgia Arnott, and her contact details are there. Based in Brisbane, it's a temporary role, so it's $76 to $81 per hour, so you get paid on an hourly rate there. Ideally, previous experience in a role that's similar. That's actually an essential criteria. But if you've worked with project controls and time and schedule management, that's very desirable as well. It's a 6-month temporary assignment, so a nice chunky temporary assignment for you, and you can see some of the responsibilities on the screen. So that's the project coordinator. The next role that we've got, I think, has us heading to Melbourne. So there's a legal executive assistant that's being led, that recruitment assignment's being led by Natalie Clark down in Melbourne. That's $90,000 to $100,000 is roughly the salary that's being offered. They're looking for a legal executive assistant, so you need to have that proven legal support experience. There could be lots of people with executive assistant experience. I understand you specifically need to have that legal support experience, but hey, if you're an executive assistant and you're looking for work, we'd like to talk to you anyway. But for this particular role, if you've got that fairly senior legal support experience, then definitely reach out to Natalie and she'll be able to help you. And I think we might have one more. No, we don't. We've got the working holiday. I wanted to do a shout out to people who might be considering a working holiday. So if you are living in Australia and considering a move to the UK or considering a move to New Zealand, or equally if you perhaps know people who are working on working holiday visas there, or maybe they're locals in those areas, then we've got a team on the ground that could certainly help you. But we might have a look at, there's a role from the UK that I can tell you a little bit about. I think that's the first one that we have got. So if you're looking for work in London, we can certainly help you. We've got a bookkeeper position that I know Hannah from the London team is very keen to fill. You can see the details on the screen there. 28 to 30,000 pounds is roughly the salary that's on offer. You would need to bring a track record of financial accounting and also proficiency utilising hopefully various systems and software to demonstrate that technical capacity. And you can see the responsibilities that are on the screen there. So if you've got that kind of experience and you're keen to consider that opportunity, or if you're just generally considering work in the UK, definitely reach out to our London team. You can connect with Hannah and her details are on the screen there as well. I think we also have got a video from our New Zealand team, actually. So we've got offices in Auckland and in Wellington over in New Zealand. And there's a video that we might share with you now about one of those opportunities.
Hi there. I'm currently working with a global organization within the fintech industry, looking for the next sales superstar. This role is an extremely rare entry-level opportunity into the world of finance and investing. You get to be a part of a global company trying to establish their base within New Zealand. You'll be at the forefront of business development and trying to grow the company's client base. A stylish new CBD office, opportunities to learn about investing, an excellent salary package, and plenty of room to grow within the organization are some of the perks attached to this role. If you're a competitive individual with excellent communication skills and a passion for finance and investing, apply now by sending your CV through to me on the email address below.
So we are going live now to Mark Green in our Western Sydney office today. So Mark runs our Western Sydney office. He's our branch manager out there. And Mark, I understand there's a webinar that you and the team are running next week. Do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Kath. So yeah, Parramatta team are very excited. We're about to kick off the talent webinar series for 2023 here in Western Sydney, and the subject is take a career to the next step in Western Sydney. So basically, I mean, what we're looking at is, 2022, as we know, there were a number of roadblocks in terms of recruitment, and 2023, the business landscape is certainly uncertain. Our latest P2P post, our salary and employment report, revealed some of the findings were that 23% of the workforce are passively looking for their next job opportunity in 2023. So what that means is it's more important than ever for candidates to make themselves stand out to potential employees. So we're running the first webinar next Tuesday, so the 27th of June at 12:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to be joined by a number of the team, so recruitment experts, so Shana Byron, who looks after sales and marketing, Marissa Varuda, who is an expert in business support, and Peter Altamore, who is the lead for our supply chain team, and obviously myself as well. So what the webinar is going to cover are lots of interesting things, like it'll give an update in terms of the Western Sydney market and what's happening. It'll cover topics like things for job seekers about what are the most common challenges at the moment, how to overcome those, and basically how to take your next step in your career. And at the end of it, we'll be happy to there'll be a section we'll be happy to answer any questions that the audience have to give them some advice. So it's next Tuesday at the 27th at 12:30.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I know. I think people, we often don't go for many jobs in our career. So whilst it's what you and I do every day, I think for if you're considering kind of getting out there in the jobs market, then hopefully this will give you a few ideas and a few tips. And certainly the Western Sydney market is one that is only going to grow and grow and grow. So it's
definitely. There's a lot happening, and there's a lot of expertise there that the guys are just excited to be able to share with candidates out there in the market.
And so if people want to join or want to participate, I'm assuming the little fairies who sit thinking will make sure it gets shared in the comments. Yes. I think they can easily. We'll share it on our socials as well.
Yeah, so it's on our socials. We'll share it, and also the link will be on the comments on here.
Great. And I'm sure that if anyone is watching and they're looking for work in Western Sydney, you and the team would just like to get a call anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, and I think if you want to share my contact details as well in the link, I said we've got lots happening in Western Sydney at the moment, so we would love to hear from candidates.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Mark. We look forward to it.
Thank you. Bye.
So that brings us almost to the end today. As always, we round out with bringing the results and posing the next question for our poll of the week. So this was perhaps a little bit alarming. The question that we asked last week was going into the second half of 2023, given we're pretty much bang on halfway now. Are you beginning to feel burnt out? And 73.7% said they are. So I think most people need to go and have a nice winter holiday. I seem to know that almost every second person I'm talking to seems to be getting on a plane and heading to somewhere warmer in the next few months. So hopefully everyone can get a little bit of a break and not be quite so burnt out. I know in one of the lives we did a couple of weeks ago, we did actually have a segment around burnout and managing stress. So you might want to go back and have a listen or have a look at that. But that was the question from last week. The question that we would like to ask you all this week is as a job seeker in 2023, and this is timely, I suppose, given the webinar we're running next week. Are you actively looking, not looking, but hey, you're open, you're looking, but you've got a bit of a hesitation to move, there's something that's making you hesitate there, or that you're not actively looking at all. So we'd be interested to get your thoughts and get a bit of a temperature check on what's happening with people out there in the workforce. So please jump onto that poll and answer that for us. We'll bring you the results next week. Thank you again for letting me host today. Very much it's one of my favourite things to do, actually, to jump on here. So thanks again for joining, and we'll be back next week.